What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back to review another episode of Tyler Perry's Sistas. This is season 6, episode 6, and the episode is titled Mending Fences. And baby, let's get right into this review. So, we start this episode off with Danny. She's in bed with Preston. Come to find out, she came home high, but she also ended up sleeping with this man. Now, here's my thing. This ain't Danny's first rodeo with being high. So it's like, girl, what kind of weed were you smoking that now you just went home and jumped on Preston? So now, according to Preston, little Miss Mindy has left. I said, how convenient is it that this woman has left? Like, did she leave because you told her that you weren't going to come back to the hotel room that you left her in? Like, at what point did she decide to leave? When she realized that you gave her a hand-me-down ring because that's the same ring that Danny turned down? Like, I'm just curious to know, Preston, what made little Mindy decide to leave? Now, one thing that Preston ended up asking Danny was, what was she smoking? And I'm trying to figure that out as well, because according to him, she had a whole moment where she told him that she loved him and how she, doesn't want to be hurt. All this stuff. And I'm like, Tyler, we couldn't get that scene. As much back and forth as we have witnessed between Preston and Danny, we couldn't get that scene. Okay, so we got to go by hearsay. Oh, and also forgot to mention, they decided to make a sex tape last night. Now, did y'all catch how Preston tried to bring up the fact that Danny tried to lick his butt or whatever? I mean, she didn't really do that, but it definitely was a throwback reference to when she dated that one black guy. Or should I say she hooked up with that black guy who decided to pull a Sukiana. That's what I'm going to start calling that, the Sukiana. And, yeah. I'm like, we're not bringing that back, Preston. Because you wore out the whole butt liquor thing. You wore that out. We ain't bringing that back. So Danny ends up going into her bathroom because, that's what she usually does. She runs into her bathroom to make all her personal phone calls. Y'all know how Danny do. All right, so now we jump on over to Andy, right? So it's the top of the morning, so she's getting ready to go to work, and she calls Fatima, tells her to, move some meetings around, and she gets a phone call also that someone needs to come up, and we see that it's Karen. Now, I know we have this little bootleg storyline that Karen is supposed to be pregnant and blah, blah, blah. Forget all that. Karen looks great. I'm like, she is so petite. Look how small that waistline is. Like, Karen is looking great. I have no idea if we are ever going to see her actually be pregnant on this show. But let me just jump into this conversation. So Karen basically comes over to let Andy know that she's going to take Zach up on his offer of helping her rebuild the salon, because when she finally did make a phone call to him, he was so sweet to her on the phone, and how, he ran to her, the way that he looked at her. And I get it. Like, don't get me wrong, Zach was going completely overboard. He definitely made it seem like Karen was his current partner and not his ex. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm with Andy when it comes to why him, why his money. Because I also offered to help you pay for your salon. Why are you so gung-ho about, oh, I want Zach to help me? Is he this child's father? Oh, why did Andy question that? Because that's when she decides to get quiet. Like, no, I want to talk to the child's father before I tell you guys, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but you're doing a lot. You're trying to put all your eggs in one basket, banking on Zach to help you. You think that basically in the back of your mind, y'all may possibly get back together. That's the energy that you're giving, Karen. And honestly, I am kind of annoyed that Tyler basically is about to, go back in circles when it comes to the whole Karen, Fatima, and Zach situation. Because I'm like, he's already proposed to Fatima. They're supposed to be engaged to get married. Why are we acting like Fatima's character is just some fling or something? You know what I'm saying? And honestly, in this moment watching Karen's character, I'm so annoyed because she's like, giving the energy of, I can take her man. That's the energy she's giving. Like, girl, you're doing all of this all after one day that this man thought that you were dead. How was he treating you the day before that? And the day before, and the week before, and all of that? That same animosity and hate and whatever else that Zach had for you, he still got it in there. So yeah, he found out that you were alive, and he clearly was overwhelmed with emotion. But don't get it twisted. The same Zach who did not care for you, the same Zach who felt like, you never supported him and all of that, he's still in there. Don't worry. That man is still in there. Now, Andy thinks that they should have a girls' meeting, but of course, she doesn't want to do that, referring to Karen, because she doesn't want the girls to question her about who the child's father is. And like Andy said, that's a valid question. Girl, you done sat up here and played around in Aaron's face as well as Zach's. You talked to both of these men. Which one is the daddy so we can go ahead and move forward with this storyline? Please, because we're tired. So now she's questioning Andy about what she had to tell her. So Andy goes on to let her know that she had a conversation with Gary the previous night and told him about himself. And she didn't mean for it to come out as harsh as it did. But Karen doesn't see any type of problem with the way she gave Gary that information. And one thing that I will say is Andy definitely needs to hear the things that she said, because that was finally a little bit of truth serum that she had to feel when it comes to Gary. Because I feel like she's been skating around the truth as to why she's still with this man. And I wish that she would have included the fact that she's with him because he has money and he's able to provide her with things. Like, girl, it's the sex as well as him having money and being able to just buy you things. Because let's not act like him giving her that penthouse did not put him in her good graces. So Karen decides that she's going to go ahead and head out, right? And I'm just like, it's crazy to me how you actually came over this girl's house to start y'all morning off with, like, hot gossip at y'all big grown age. But nonetheless, before she heads out, Andy's like, oh, I'm not going to tell Fatima. I'm like, why are we doing this? We should not still be doing that same song and dance of Andy trying to balance out her friendships. I feel like that was something in the past. Leave that in last season. So we got this unnecessary scene between Sabrina and Danny because Danny decided that she was going to make a phone call to Sabrina, while she was in her phone booth, aka her bathroom. I'm just like, girl, if you don't do nothing, you're going to make these phone calls in this little phone booth that you call a bathroom. Could you stop doing that? Like, why can't you have conversations in your living room? Oh, right, because you forever having some man in your house. So that way you got to sneak and have your phone conversations. Very strange. But nonetheless, according to Danny, she said she's not smoking anymore. Sabrina is rushing her off the phone because she has to meet up with the lawyer that Bio set up. Now, I said, this could go two ways. Either he found a legit lawyer because he actually want his money back when it comes to this whole court situation, or he could have found a lawyer that's going to make sure that Maurice goes to jail, but Sabrina will be out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I don't trust Bio. So now we have Danny, she's in the mirror talking to herself, talking about is this really who you are? Girl, yes, that is who you are. This is the person that you have been for a couple of seasons now. It's like, girl, you won't stop. You need to go focus on yourself and not these men that you keep picking up off the street. But let's go ahead and move on to Zach and Fatima, y'all. So we see that Zach is knocked out. He is laid in the bed or whatever. And we also see Fatima. She comes out. She's dressed for work. And we see her make her way down the steps, right? Now, her side of the bed is already made up. And Zach's phone starts to ring. I'm like, okay, Fatima has to be able to hear that his phone is ringing. So she probably only took about 3 steps down them stairs. So he gets on the phone. And of course, it's Karen. So Karen calls him to ask if he can meet with her at the salon. And it's crazy because she even questioned Zach if it was okay with Fatima if he even came to the salon. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is what we doing. Girl, you know he did not ask about if he can come to the salon. You already know. Because you knew this last night when his whole tone changed when he was on the phone with you. So next thing you know, she ends up offering to bring him breakfast. I'm like, Karen, you're putting in way too much effort to try to win him back. Like, honestly, I feel like these two people have already gone through so much. I don't need for us to keep going back down this road. Like, I'm so annoyed with this storyline. So they end up getting off the phone, and Zach is calling out for Fatima, and she ain't answering. So next thing you know, he hops on his phone to try to call Fatima. She sent his ass straight to voicemail, and he left her a message. I'm like, Zach, you are really oblivious, aren't you? Like, how do you not see the problems in what you're doing? All right, let's move on, because now we got to get to Hayden and Gary. Y'all know what my first thought was when I saw Hayden and Gary? Where's Robin? Yeah, that's my first thought, because we completely dropped that storyline, and it makes no sense why we dropped it. So Hayden comes in or whatever, and he's like, I was supposed to go to Miami, but I actually ended up taking Tamara to Vegas, and they ended up getting married. No prenup, no nothing. I'm like, girl, just take him to the cleaners then, because I'm tired of this storyline. And what's more annoying is the fact that Hayden is like, well, I don't really know her. I just met her. Now he wants to question his decision. So, of course, Gary is like, well, you vetted her or whatever. And Hayden did not vet that girl. That girl paid him some attention, and he was happy about that. So Gary is asking for her name and her social. And I'm like, so you think Hayden just knows this woman's social right off the top, Gary? Now, Gary does suggest, okay, you can go ahead and get an annulment or whatever. And Hayden's talking about, so he don't want to do that. I said, well, why are we here? Why are we having this conversation? And now Gary wants to talk about his situation with Andy and how she said some mean things to him. Like, boy, bye, okay? You've put her through all types of foolishness. You're just getting a little bit back. So, as he's telling Hayden this, Hayden basically is like, listen, I think she just wants you for your money, dog. That's it. And, of course, Gary doesn't believe that. And I'm like, well, when you put it this way, she does like the finer things in life. And Gary has given her that. So, yeah, she does like you for your money. We already know that she's there for the D. Girl, you a city girl. Like, we need to stop calling her Andy and call her, Young Atlanta. I don't know if we need to call her, like, JT's little sister. Like, I don't know what's happening here. But she's definitely a city girl. But let's go ahead and move on. Sabrina goes to Calvin's place. Or should I say Maurice's place. And Maurice is not ready for this meeting. Now, one thing that I thought was hilarious was the fact that Sabrina, out of all people, called Calvin's furniture tacky. And I'm like, girl, you tacky yourself. With the clothes you wear, your apartment ain't that cute. Like, come on now, Sabrina. You know you are not that girl when it comes to the fashions or the home decor. But, nonetheless, she's still trying to get Maurice to come out, right? Maurice is over here talking about some, I don't want to go meet with this lawyer because he's probably homophobic like Bio. And, of course, this lawyer may think that, I did it. So, I don't want to go. He basically feels like this lawyer is not going to have his back. So, Sabrina ends up leaving. Now, Calvin is able to bribe him to meet up with this lawyer as long as he takes him to get some food. I'm just like, what is this? What is this scene? It was a waste of time. Tyler, stop wasting our time with these unnecessary scenes, please. Now, we have Fatima and Andy there talking at work. Now, you can see that Fatima is in her feelings about Zach because she's not operating how she normally does. So, Fatima basically lets Andy know that, she can't talk to Zach right now because she doesn't want to blow up on him. Because according to, Fatima, she's been going to therapy. You have Zach going to therapy. I'm like, so when we gonna see this? Because are we gonna get that as a Fatima? Because since when have they been going to therapy? Both of them went to go see that man one time, or at least spoke to that man one time. I was supposed to be a therapist. But let's just get back into the storyline. So, next thing you know, Zach shows up, y'all. Zach shows up, and you have the receptionist, trying to stop him. And it's crazy because Andy's like telling the receptionist, the proper protocol is to call before a client arrives. Girl, Zach ain't no client. He came to see his woman. He came to see his fiance. So here goes Zach, right? He over here talking about, so what's going on? And Andy's like, well, we have a big meeting. And Andy is trying to, send Fatima away so that way she can go back to doing her job. I was honestly so annoyed with Zach in this scene because I'm like, who are you to show up to this woman's job and basically come there so that way you can argue with her? So that way you can do what? Because it's not like you're coming there to bring her lunch. So Fatima ends up walking away because she actually has things to do that is, her job. Zach probably wouldn't know what that is because Zach doesn't have a job. Nonetheless, him and Andy start talking, right? And he doesn't understand what he has done wrong. And she's like, well, let's see. Since yesterday, you left out of here and completely disregarded your partner. And his only response is, well, we thought that Kara was dead. And I'm like, Andy, dude, we're talking about your future spouse and their feelings. How are you not seeing the issue here? Now, according to Zachary, though, he's saying that, women always have a lot going on and all this stuff. And I'm like, but you act like you have no, part in this. That's what's so annoying. I am tired of everybody trying to talk to Zach about what he's done wrong in this situation. And his only response is, we thought Kara was dead. Okay, but that did not require for you to act the way that you did. It's so crazy to me. And then the audacity of him to be like, well, tell Fatima that I'm going to go see Karen at the salon or whatever. As if, number one, Andy has to do whatever he says. And number two, he said it in the tone that was very Fatima will just have to deal with it. And I'm just like, dude, your energy is crazy right now. So at this point, Andy questions him, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to be so involved helping Karen? And he's like, well, she lost everything or whatever. And I'm like, well, did she lose that $70,000? Because I'm trying to understand, what she do with 70 grand, y'all? Did she pay off her student loans or something? What did she do with the money? Because she did not pay the insurance. And she didn't have no extra stylist to pay. I know she had to pay to keep the lights on in the salon and everything. But be for real. What did you do with $70,000? She don't have none of that left over that she can use to help rebuild this salon? That's crazy. So Andy basically tells him that, he needs to stop trying to help. He needs to go really focus on him and Fatima. And y'all, why at one point he tried to bring up his son, talking about so did Fatima tell you about my son? Baby, the way Andy skedaddled away from him, I couldn't blame her. Sir, what you not about to do is bark orders at me to tell your fiance anything and then try to circle back and loop me into your drama with your baby mama? No, ma'am. Or no, sir. We not doing that. So she ends up walking away. And I'm just like, oh, also now you want to think about your son? Because you've been whining and crying about Karen possibly being dead for 24 hours now? Dude, go chill out somewhere. So Andy and Fatima have a conversation because Andy goes into her office and Fatima's already there. So according to Fatima, she already knows that he's going to Karen's salon. And she also knows that when he was on the phone with Fatima, he was using his I love you voice with her. So Fatima says that she's still processing everything. Now, y'all, I can't lie. I'm tired of Fatima processing. I'm tired of this slow-moving Fatima. I miss when Fatima was about that life. I miss when Fatima was really with the shits, okay? So, next thing you know, she takes her ring off, gives it to Andy, so that way she can hold on to it. Now, here's my issue. Because I'm trying to figure out, how does all this tie into Fatima? Now, according to Tyler, I believe, he's saying that even though there are the same characters, their worlds don't really, tie in together. But I'm like, at some point, this has to make sense. Because what you're not about to have them do is break up on one show for one reason, break up on a total different show for a different reason. And honestly, both of these things are on the verge of being non-reconcilable. So, Tyler, how are you going to get these people to come back together? Please let me know. So, next thing you know, Andy is trying to cheer Fatima up by telling her, like, you're going to be a lawyer. You should come to the meeting with me. All this stuff. Now, my question is, do y'all think that something is going to happen to that ring? Because Andy just put it in a box on her desk. Y'all think the ring going to come up missing? I'm wondering. So, let's move on to Sabrina. Oh, God. So, she gets there to meet with the lawyer. Keep in mind, I think that this lawyer is only supposed to be representing Maurice and not her, so why is she here? But, nonetheless, like I said, she meeting with this man. Next thing you know, Maurice and Calvin show up. Why is Calvin there? He could have sat in the car. And then for him to take the seat, I'm like, what is happening right now? So, of course, we have Maurice being what? Over the top. I really wish that Tyler would go back to the way he had Maurice acting when he got attacked. Y'all remember when Maurice got attacked by that one guy at the bank or whatever? And how, like, everything was not always funny to Maurice or him trying to be extra. I wish we could go back to that person. But clearly Tyler loves when Maurice's character acts like this. Every time the lawyer tried to speak, Maurice kept interrupting him. So the man ends up playing a recording that Maurice, he admitted that, he was behind the whole thing. Now, basically, we have two options. The lawyer says he's going to try to get this whole thing dismissed, but the worst case scenario is they get 15 years in jail. And I'm just like, at this point, let's just go ahead and lock Maurice up so we don't have to deal with him no more. Because I feel like Tyler has ran his character to the ground, and I don't see how we can change that. Let's go ahead and move on over to Karen. So we see Karen, she gets to her shop. She's letting some customers know that, it's going to be closed for a while. And next thing you know, Pam shows up. Baby, when I tell you, Pam and Karen looked real cute. I mean, like, real cute. They both look great in this scene. But here's the thing. Where were they going? Because they said they were going to show up to the shop so they could clean up. They wasn't going to pick up nothing with them outfits on. Baby, next thing you know, here comes Aaron. I said you would be here. Who even gave you access to come into the building? Please let me know. Y'all, Aaron came out there with a damn hazmat coverall on. And he's like, I'm here to help. I'm like, okay, fine. So Aaron says that, it's actually not bad. And next thing you know, Zach shows up. Now we have Zach and Aaron getting into a little banter, a little back and forth. And I'm just like, but why are we doing this? Like, Karen's alive. Why are we going back and forth? Like, come on now. Now, Karen, she decides that she's going to speak to Zach. So she wants to speak to him privately. So she sends Aaron and Pam into the burnt up building. So they are basically talking about who knows what, because I kind of zoned out. All I know is that next thing I saw was them holding hands, and Karen leans in to give Zach a kiss on the cheek. Y'all, Karen is really trying her hardest to win Zach back. But this whole time, we hear a car revving up or whatever. So it's like, okay, we clearly know somebody has parked their car. We see that it's Fatima. Fatima has seen everything. And she's like glaring at them. Baby, that is where we left off. I want Fatima to go ahead and leave Zach right there with Karen. Because I'm over this. Like, he's not trying to stop Karen from doing anything. There's no, let's not do this. Please don't kiss me on the cheek. None of that. There's no boundaries here. And I'm just like, okay. So you really want Fatima to just tolerate this? Just put up with this, Zach? She's already putting up with a lot of your shenanigans. But nonetheless, y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.